Welcome back, Monster Kitties! This is your old pal Aiden, and today we're drawing a pretty big name in horror, Rob Zombie. So back in my drawing video for Alice Cooper, I mentioned that getting into rock and roll and sort of rebelling against what everyone else was listening to was a pretty big deal for me when I was growing up. Around that time, back when MTV actually did show music videos, there was a pretty eye-opening experience. There were a couple of music videos that really rocked my mind. One of them was called Dragula, and the other was called Living Dead Girl. And this was a pretty huge experience for me. I had been raised to avoid stuff that was like evil and devilish and blah 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 blah. Yes, I went to Catholic school. But Rob Zombie grabbed my attention in a way that a lot of other so-called evil musicians like Marilyn Manson at the time didn't. First of all, there was the love of monster movies in those videos. There were clips from films that I either did recognize or I'd never heard of before and immediately had to go and find out about them. And there was also just his sense of humor. It wasn't like over-the-top goofy in a way, but there are little jokes sprinkled in throughout both Dragula and Living Dead Girl that are, really goes to show you that it's all in good fun. And I think that was a big part of the appeal of Rob Zombie to me, was that it was a lot of fun. The music video for Living Dead Girl is an amazing recreation of the cabinet of Dr. Caligari. All of the details are nearly flawless. And whether or not a lot of MTV viewers were aware of Caligari, this is still an incredible effort that Zombie did. Dragula, on the other hand, is a handful of clips and random footage that is all put together in a way that is, honestly, really damn effective. It's just unbelievable how well this music video works, despite the fact that when you really look at it, it's just stock footage clips and the band in front of a green screen, and yet it works amazingly. When I got to direct and edit a music video for the Rhythm Coffin called Tombstone, a lot of the editing techniques I did were completely stolen from Dragula. That's how much of an impact it had on me. I went out and immediately picked up the album Hellbilly II, and this was also a huge deal for me because even to this day, nostalgia aside, Hellbilly II is still one of the very best albums I've ever listened to. Nearly every song on it is a knockout. Just as importantly, the book that came with it was amazing. There are so many good artists in here that horror kids will know and love. Basil Gogos, Gene Colan, Dan Brereton, and of course Zombie himself did a lot of the artwork too. So after Hellbilly II, I was pretty much hooked. I started working my way backwards to White Zombie, which, as we all know, is the band that Rob Zombie was originally in. Their music also freaking rocked. Astro Creep 2000 is probably one of the very best things that Zombie ever worked on. Oddly enough, it turns out I had seen White Zombie's work at a much, much earlier age, back when I was a stupid kid watching a movie called Beavis and Butthead Do America, and that hallucination sequence that pretty much blew the mind of a nice little boy who didn't usually watch music videos like that. Moving on forward, there were other great albums that came too. The Sinister Urge was really cool. I liked Educated Horses. I don't know what everybody complained about it for. And that's about the time when I sort of stopped listening, was when it came up to Hellbilly Deluxe 2. Not that it was bad, but it didn't seem worthy of carrying on the honor. I know that sounds stupid and pretentious, but it didn't seem like it was worthy of the first one. And honestly, if you're going to call your album a sequel to something, it better live up to it and not just be for marketing value. A lot of Zombies albums that came out afterwards are the ones with titles that are like 12 words long: Electric Acid, Warlock, Purple Monkey Dishwasher, whatever. But the music on them sounds fine. You can listen to them all on YouTube. And of course, Rob Zombie still puts on a damn good show. Seeing him live is always a fun experience, especially when he pulls out the Phantom Creeps robot. And it's also amazing that the stage is decorated with all these giant photos of Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, Frederick March, and of course the giant King Kong. This is a monster kid who proudly showcases his love for all of the movies that inspired him and has made it part of his act, and honestly, I can relate, and I love that. Now, Rob Zombie's dip in popularity is something else that's noticeable too, and for a celebrity that has never really had any scandals, it is kind of interesting that so many people cringe at his name or roll their eyes when they hear about, him coming out with a new project or other. Why that is could be for a couple of reasons. It may just been overexposure in merchandise, but the number one thing, of course, that makes a lot of people groan about Rob Zombie is his career as a filmmaker, and that is such a huge topic to cover that I'm just going to save it for the next video. Tune in next time, little monsters, as we look at the films of Rob Zombie. Beware.